All right, great. Thanks very much, everyone, for joining us here for this pre-match press conference ahead of South Africa versus Bangladesh at the SCG. We're joined in the room at the Sydney Cricket Ground by Lungi Ngidi of South Africa. We'll be taking questions from inside the room here, and also we'll be welcoming questions on Zoom. So without further ado, I would like to just see a show of hands, please, for questions within the room. Great. Bruce, if you could.
Lungi, clearly there's a lot of pace in your attack. You obviously one of them, Kagiso, and Anrique as well. Do you feel you're playing a side in Bangladesh you could be vulnerable to that pace that you guys have, and is that something you'll be targeting them with tomorrow?
I think at the moment we just playing towards our strengths. We've seen from the games that we've watched, pace has been probably the most successful throughout this tournament. So we're going with our strengths. Towards the Bangladesh side, obviously we'd like to attack them with our strength, and that is the pace. So, depending on how they handle that, I guess we'll see tomorrow. But all in all, we pretty much run with what we're good at. So,
just on that, the seam bowlers, pace bowlers have had some help early in this tournament. Do you think that makes for better T20 cricket? Do you think T20 is better when the bowlers have a say in it?
Yeah, definitely. I think when it's competitive, we saw the first, the India-Pakistan game, it got really tight. I think that's what people want to see, not absolute blowouts of teams scoring 240 and then, you pretty much struggle to try get there. So I think when the competition gets a lot closer, it makes for better cricket.
How's it, Lungi? The past is the past. You can't do anything about what happened in Hobart, but that would have added to the pressure of trying to get through to the semis. And tomorrow's forecast is also looks a little iffy. How closely are you guys watching the weather, and is that an added pressure, that you might not get a game in?
To be honest, you control what you can, and the weather is one thing we don't have a say in. We were eager to get out on the park in Hobart, and I think, everyone who was there did their bit in trying to get a game to get going. So, appreciative in that sense, but at the end of the day, we couldn't control what happens with the rain. It does put us under a bit of pressure. It would have been nice to get a win. And yeah, tomorrow another forecast of rain. I think we just got a bit of bad luck, to be honest, following us. But yeah, we got no say in how the weather plays out. The only thing we can do is, we'll get here and we'll be prepared to play.
And if I can just, it was a funny old game in Hobart for that reason. What do you think you learnt about your readiness for going forward in this tournament from that game as a team?
Yeah, from just the energy that we had, I think the guys were really up for it. In terms of the mental spaces the guys are in, I think we saw by the way Quinton came out and played, the guys are here to compete and here to win. So yeah, that's pretty much the mindset we're going with throughout the tournament. And yeah, obviously it's not nice to start off with a 9-over game, but it's better than nothing. So we'll take it. We got a bit of momentum there, and obviously whatever mistakes we made, we're going to fix in the next game.
Just talking briefly to Anrique about the bowling attack in general. Looking at all three formats, you could easily make a case that South Africa have the best quick bowling attack in the world. I'm not sure how much you would read about that, but is that something that you guys kind of thrive on? Is it something that it kind of galvanises you as a bowling attack? Do you take pride in that?
100% we do. For people to be able to say that about the guys that we have in the change room, it's an honor and a privilege, to hear those words about, the guys we have. So it does give us a lot of confidence as well, and, helps the guys walk with their heads held up high. You go out there and obviously if people are speaking about you like that, you want to showcase what you have. So definitely makes for a good show when we get out there.
And just quickly, the likes of, say, Marco Janssen coming into the squad as well. Everyone in that group kind of brings something a little bit different. How nice is it for you to have a clearly defined role in a bowling plan, whether it be against Bangladesh tomorrow or in the tournament in general?
It really does make your job a lot easier. I think it's difficult when you have pretty much two seamers that are going to have to do everything, whereas we probably have 3 or 4, and everyone is probably better at something than someone else. So we can always turn to someone else if things aren't going well. So it does give you that sense of calm, but it also gives you that bit of confidence that you need going into a tournament like this.
Lungi, I'm not sure if you saw, but there were a few headlines floating around yesterday. Tim Payne released his book and he made claims that there was ball tampering in the Australia-South Africa series in 2018 in the fourth test. Was that from South Africa and it was covered up? Was that something that raised eyebrows at all in your group, or have you guys spoken about those claims from Tim Payne?
No, it has. We haven't spoken about anything in terms of our team now. No, we definitely haven't. I mean, that's stuff the guys that are writing in their own books, and I guess we'll see it when we get a chance to read it. But for now, to be honest, our focus is here, so we're kind of just brushing past those things.
Can I ask, do you find it strange that 4 years later it's something we're still talking about? Like, obviously, Tim's done his book, Faf has his one coming out in a couple of weeks' time. That's also created a few headlines about that series. Do you find it strange that it's all being revisited again, and is it at all a distraction in that sense?
I don't find it strange, because I think at some point it was always going to be spoken about again. Now the guys, they're retiring, they're writing books, obviously they're sharing their stories, so it was bound to come back. It's obviously come back at a time where there's a lot of media around this tournament as well, so it probably does highlight, that sort of situation. But in terms of distracting us, I don't think it has at all. It's got nothing to do with us right now, so we're pretty chilled about that.
Lungi, you're part of the good pace attack for South Africa, and you also have Marco and Janssen, the left armour. So what is the advantage having a left armour sharing the attack? And also you have played against Arshdeep Singh, and you have seen him in the IPL. How has he developed from an opponent's point of view?
I think obviously there was a lot to learn from the way Arshdeep bowled against us in India. And I think we're fortunate to have a tall left-arm fast bowler as well. So it helps us prepare in terms of going forward, knowing what we're going to be facing. We know that Bangladesh also have a left-arm seamer in the fizz. And, I think with the skills and sets that Marco has, he actually does help us prepare well for what's about to happen. And, just having him in our attack as well, it brings a different variation. I mean, the guy's, 7 foot tall as well, so that kind of helps. So yeah, it is different, but it is a massive bonus for us.
Lungi, Bangladesh captain Sakib Al Hassan earlier today said that South Africa will be desperate to win as they lost 1 point the other day, and he feels that you guys will be under more pressure than Bangladesh. So what do you feel?
I think everyone's under pressure in this tournament if you're looking to win. With that claim that we'll be hungry to win, that's definitely true. I mean, obviously we would have loved a win in the first game, and we know now that, what pressure we have in terms of going forward in the tournament. But to say that we're under more pressure, I'd probably say it's pretty equal, if you're looking to win the World Cup. So, may the best team win.
Which part of Bangladesh you will restrict for win the game in the next day?
Sorry, sir?
As a unit of South Africa batting and bowling unit, which part you want to check Bangladesh? That you want to win the game because of Bangladesh wants to win the game by all attack.
Okay. Well, I think the last time we played Bangladesh, their batsmen came out pretty aggressive against us, so we're very cognizant of that fact. So we'll definitely be targeting, their top order. We know, they have Shakib to control the middle and Fizz at the back end. So I'm pretty sure the batsmen have plans for that. But as the bowling unit, we're definitely looking to cut the head of the snake, which is probably take out their top order and try to restrict them to as low a total as possible. If that answers your question. So.
Lungi, just to go back to bowling in this tournament, I know your first game was heavily reduced by rain. I don't know how much you've actually watched of the other games on television, but are you getting a sense that actually, from a bowling perspective, there's some test match skills that are actually going to work in this tournament? Because it's quite early season here in Australia, the pitches are doing a bit. Are you thinking in a bit of a test match mode at times with the ball?
Well, you could call it, test match mode, but I think it's just trying to keep it simple. There's pace and bounce in Australia. I think we were all aware of that fact before we came here. So I think we've seen it even more now in the first few games that we've watched. So, as the bowlers, they've probably tried to keep it very simple. The guys have bashed it into the wicket at good pace, and it's been successful. So, in that sense, probably, test match mode in terms of just keeping it simple and just being patient for what the batsman's going to do next.
Okay, I think we've got one more question in the room then. Yeah.
In the recent past in ODIs, Bangladesh have beaten South Africa in your home soil, but it's a different format. But will you still take Bangladesh? Will you still not take Bangladesh lightly in this format also?
I don't think anyone should be taken lightly in this tournament. And yes, they did beat us on our home soil in an ODI, and they outplayed us. It's that simple. So tomorrow is a new day. It's a new game, and we're definitely aware of the fact of what they did in the past. But like I said, tomorrow's a new day, and we shall see what happens.
Last one. Apart from the pacers, what about the spinners? Will they play a big role in the match?
Well, I don't know. Team hasn't been selected yet, so I guess we'll find out tomorrow.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Great. That completes the questions in the room. We've got a couple of questions online through Zoom, I can see. So Zahir, do you want to go first?
Hi, Lungi. For all the talk of the abandoned game and only 1 point against Zimbabwe, it's actually 1 point more than you had after your first game in the last World Cup, and you obviously went on to win all four. Is that the mantra in the change room of we win all our games and our destiny is in our own hands?
Definitely. I mean, everyone's probably talking about it in a negative sense. There was a possibility we weren't even going to get onto the field. So, yeah, it's 1 point, like you said, 1 point more than we had last tournament. And, from here on in, we got to win all our games. So, and that's the only mindset that we have. So we're going to carry on with that.
And Lungi, just in terms of, you spoke about keeping it simple. You've become quite accustomed to bowling change-ups, slip cutters in T20 cricket. Is this more of going back to hitting hard lengths and instead of all the change-ups that you usually do?
Well, to be honest, I go with my gut feeling, and that's how I play T20 cricket. So if I have that gut feeling of bowling a slower ball, then I'll do it. Sometimes it comes off, sometimes it doesn't, but it's been successful for me, and it's what's gotten me here. So whatever I'm feeling on the day, that's what I'm going to go with.
Great. And we've just got a question from Kanyiso, please.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Lungi. Good afternoon to everyone else. Lungi, just talk us through the importance of Quinton de Kock. When he has the scored runs, it's reflected in South Africa's results, especially in ODI cricket. His start in particular helped South Africa get very close to the small target even before the weather intervened. But just talk us through how important will it be for a player of his ability to push through again tomorrow and for the rest of the tournament.
Well, I think we all know the importance of Quinton de Kock. I mean, he's a world-renowned cricketer, and he opens the batting for us. And, I think that's an important position that he knows he has and an important role in our team. So, yeah, obviously we expect him to do well. But, cricket happens and sometimes you go through bad patches. But we saw the other night when Quinton's on fire what can happen. So I think the other teams are well aware of what can happen if he's firing on the day. So, yeah, he has a very important role in our team, and I think he's well aware of that fact.
And I think just lastly from my side, I know that India and Pakistan will probably be one of the two harder games in your group. So how important does it become to actually get a win against Bangladesh tomorrow?
I think, like I've said, every game is important. Even the last year's tournament, we won all our games and still didn't qualify. So I don't think there's a point in looking at it as one team is more important than another. Every game you play is important. All the points you get are important. And I think as a team, we've wrapped our minds around having to win everything in order to try to give ourselves the best chance to go through to the qualifiers. Or semis, sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, great. I think that concludes the press conference. Thanks very much for your time, Lungi.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.